Okay, so let's just continue. 21. Which combination is usually found in least developed or countries? A high birth rate, yes, and a dominant primary sector, pretty much. I think in fact A is your answer. बाकी देख लेते हैं. Capital intensive production तो नहीं होती. Usually labor intensive होती है, and a low rate of saving. But low rate of saving is fine because you usually spend more in developing because उनकी income इतनी कम होती है कि वो save क्या करेंगे बेचारे उनके basic necessities में खर्चा नहीं कर सकते. Just a sec. Okay, so capital intensive production तो नहीं है बेचारों के पास. Labor intensive production is fine. Declining population, usually increasing population होती है, तो just बच्चे बहुत पैदा करते हैं ये लोग.
लेकिन
I mean, although a lot of them die off as well.
हाँ, तो वही मैं कह रहा था.
No, but it's not usually found. Usually it's increasing population. Net inward migration. Well, I don't know if you're Pakistan and Afghani boys are coming. A low death rate तो कहीं से भी
नहीं हो सकता.
Inward migration.
Even the Afghani वाली misal doesn't hold. So
inward migration भी इतनी जल्दी like okay. So it's 21A. Sahi. Okay, so the diagram shows selected US labor statistics from 2001 to 2014, and the bars are net new jobs monthly average. तो new jobs क्या है? तो अगर negative में I believe तो फिर jobs कम हो रही हैं, positive में तो jobs बढ़ रही हैं. Employed as a percentage of population aged 16 and over, so basically your labor force, you could say. So percentage employed basically, and I think percentage employed the yeah. What can be concluded from the diagram about 2001 to 2014? Employment as a percentage of the population aged 16 and over declined continuously. Well, it did decline, but I don't think it declined continuously. Because like there are some places like here where it increased, in fact, so we can't necessarily say so. Even either thosi increase ho gaye. In periods where the number of net new jobs was rising, the percentage employed increased. Well, if you look at net new jobs, where are they rising? So, and in the periods where the net new jobs, so like either new jobs increase हुए, तो इधर भी ये increase हो गए, सही है. Either as they kept on increasing, so either you could say this also increased. I mean, it could be right. Like I wouldn't circulate until I read the other ones though, because I think this very well could be our answer because net new jobs was rising. Like it should not only be in the positive, it should then over the period be increasing like in. So that those are two areas where we've marked where it holds true. The natural rate of unemployment was achieved only in 2008. It's basically 9-8. I mean, like, how do you know that? Like, how do you know it's the natural rate of unemployment? I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
कुछ कह नहीं सकते. कह सकते हैं?
I mean, can we know or can we not know?
I don't think we can deduce anything from the graph.
Yeah. And वही पूछा भी है कि what can be concluded from the diagram. The number of unemployed workers, दफाओ. I mean, like, so because of one reason, number. You can't tell number, you've been given percentage. Because while you might think if net new jobs, because either the new number है ना, अगर वो positive है, but again, like, it just because there are new jobs doesn't necessarily mean, or does it mean?
It doesn't mean.
What does it mean? किसकी बात कर?
like, people would take up those jobs.
Yeah, basically. And like, वैसे भी, even if you were to look at it, fell in all except 4 years. So now this is getting interesting, वैसे. So नहीं. So it fell in 4 years. I'm not talking about the number of people unemployed because I'm not sure if that link is correct. But then with jobs decreased in 4 years, the number of jobs, and uske alawa the jobs just increased. So
Hmm.
even if this was, even if we could say कि जितनी नई jobs हैं उतने लोग employ भी हो गए, we still
Hmm.
it still is wrong because um it says fell in all except 4 years. In fact, where it rose in all except 4 years.
हाँ
And
उल्टा है.
anyways, yeah, and anyways, just because you have new jobs, I don't think that necessarily establishes कि लोग employ हो गए. We only
हाँ.
have the percentage of unemployed of employment and not the number. So like dafa usi.
Hmm.
So D and C are wrong, and A is wrong,
Hmm.
leaving us with only one option, which is B, which is something that we thought was correct anyways. So in periods where the number of ये जो था net new jobs जो
Hmm.
हमने इधर label किया था, stuff like this was rising, the
Percentage
percentage
increase.
employed increased. So that's what we did. 22B, yeah. Oops. So 23. Under conditions of full employment, the quantity theory of money is basically MV is equals to PT.
Hmm.
So money supply into velocity of circulation is equals to price level into total number of transactions. Suggests that ceteris paribus, the effect of an increase in the velocity of the circulation will be to increase. Okay, sorry. This theory suggests that the effect of an increase in the velocity of circulation will be to increase probably prices.
Hmm.
I would say prices.
हाँ.
The idea of full employment is that your total number of
Output cannot increase.
exactly your total number of transactions normally can also be called stuff like total output भी आप ऐसे बोल सकते हो and stuff of that sort. तो ये तो
Hmm.
नहीं फर्क इस पे तो फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा सही है.
Hmm.
Yeah, so velocity of circulation increase हुई.
तो prices बढ़ जाएंगे.
Increase prices. Output we just established full employment पे कैसे बढ़ाओगे. Demand for
Hmm.
money तो factor भी नहीं है इधर. Quantity of money again not really even in the equation. Money supply है. And but if anything, even if we were to assume that this side of the equation was constant, then increase in velocity would decrease money supply.
Increase. हाँ.
Uh,
So
although
B.
yeah, but although this side of the equation we can't assume to be constant, so like
हाँ.
okay. So velocity, I think B is fine. We were good with B. Velocity
Yeah.
बढ़ाई, prices बढ़ गई. 23B.
Hmm.
Yeah. So 24 in a closed economy, so two sector, with neither government expenditure nor taxation. So either आपका, if you look at injections and withdrawals I think WC represent करते थे ना.
Hmm.
So withdrawals you have is saving,
And taxes.
taxes नहीं है इधर बोला है.
हाँ तो इसके अंदर नहीं है. हाँ.
And injections you would have is investment.
हाँ.
Say the initial income is 2000 million. All savings are carried out by consumers, say, who save 25% of any income received above this. So basically, इनकी 25% अगर save करते हैं, इसकी MPS is 1/4, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah.
So for every dollar they receive, they save 1/4 of it. That's 25%.
Hmm.
And this is and they're only talking about this above 2000 million.
Hmm.
So say a MPS is 1/4. Above 200,000 million, businesses plan to invest 2,000 million. Uh, Now this is interesting. Wait, so 2,000 million is above the initial income of 2,000, right?
I think.
Yeah, because initial income is 2,000 million. All savings are carried out by consumers who save 25% of any income received above 2,000 million. say businesses plan to invest 2,000 million. So I think this is above the 2,000 million wala, but like this is in the range where this is applicable. And if it wasn't in that range, then you couldn't do anything anyways. Like एक ही तो hint दिया हुआ है, like वो भी applicable नहीं तो क्या? What is the value of the multiplier? So the multiplier is basically, you can either call it 1 upon the marginal propensity, to withdraw, or I think you can call it 1 upon 1 minus MPC.
Yeah.
So now, which is the same in this case, especially because MPS plus MPC is equals to 1 anyways. So yeah, so 1 minus MPC is basically MPS. So yeah, so since MPC plus MPS is equals to 1, तो अगर इसे हम इधर लेके चले जाएंगे तो minus वाला sign लग जाएगा, तो MPS is 1 minus MPC, and the marginal propensity to withdraw in a two-sector economy, which is this because it's closed, as you saw here. Withdrawals is only saving, our own withdrawal savings ही है, so 1 upon MPW is also 1 upon MPS. 1 upon 1 minus MPC is also 1 upon MPS, so your multiplier would be 4. Basically, इसको reciprocate कर देंगे. So 24 का आपका answer is B.
Yeah.
Say, okay, 25. Which combination of factors is most likely to result in economic growth? An increase in, so basically supply siders and stuff like that. Is, and like economic growth mainly, I checked, so actual growth is also a part of economic growth, but you mainly talk about potential growth, right? Like, you know, PPC shift, stuff like that. LRAS shift, stuff like that. An increase in management productivity together with a reduction in the hours worked per employee? Probably not. Because chalo, productivity will be management ki badi, but if you're reducing the hours worked per employee, how will you be growing? Like even if you increase GDP, which is actual growth, वो भी नहीं लग रहा है इधर, because hours कम हो गए.
लेकिन कोरिया में कम हो रहे हैं ना working hours अब.
I mean, हो रहे होंगे like.
Recently I read on it.
I never sat and care, like, you know, gave a hoot about. Korea में boys chill मार सकते हैं और.
Because they have the longest working hours, I think.
हाँ वो जो.
और वो क्या करें, वो computers बंद कर देते हैं after a certain time, so to avoid overtime.
Nice. अच्छा है बैठ के K-pop देखें. So increased educational enrollment together with an increase in business regulation. So educational enrollment would make your labor force more productive, more employable. Should increase actual, your point, actual growth to आनी चाहिए. Increase in business regulation, not too sure what they mean by this. Like,
क्योंकि ऊपर नीचे दोनों चीजें हो सकती हैं. Depends on what kind of regulation it is.
Since most likely, so let's just keep this on hold. The discovery of new raw material deposit, definitely this will shift your PPC. This is a major factor, and especially economic growth and potential growth se mainly dekh rahe hain.
With significant immigration of labor too.
Oh, then no. Because immigration is outward migration, so like आपकी labor force कम हो गई. I remember one of our teachers, I don't know who gets mixed up on this, but in case someone does.
Imports and exports.
हाँ.
मैंने भी ऐसे याद किया हुआ है.
Immigration, imports वाली migration, immigration, export वाली migration.
Same.
So probably answer D, I believe. The invention of technology, which basically shifts your PPC, together with the investment to use it in the economy. So investment leads to capital deepening, more efficient. That's good. And investment in technology, हमने कर दी, so you just shifted the production function like anything. PPC shifts economic growth, and definitely more likely than just educational enrollment. Like technology and investment are definitely like much more important factors for economics.
And a better supply side policy is deregulation in business policies and all of that.
Now that you say it, so like this would in fact reduce try to work against what we're looking for. So B again is wrong on that logic as well. Chalo, so 26. A country's real national income per head increases, right? So GDP per head, and you've taken inflation into account. What could explain why this might be accompanied by a fall in households' living standards. So that's interesting. Living standards come again. So although income per head has increased, a decrease in state welfare payments,
Probably.
maybe, a decrease in the working age population. No.
Decrease in working age population. हाँ
I
इससे
mean,
तो कम हो जाना चाहिए वैसे क्योंकि per head बढ़ गई अगर आपकी नहीं but नहीं no wait
नहीं because उन्होंने per head ले लिया है उन्होंने they haven't said it's if it was only real national income increases
हाँ no but then B भी हो सकता है वैसे
अच्छा you saying कि your national income remained the same but denominator छोटा हो गया which was like so if you have your national
denominator constant है but ज़्यादा लोग कमा रहे हैं अब क्योंकि per head सिर्फ workforce थोड़ी देखते हैं you look at the whole population don't you
you do but
so
but the workforce is constitutes a large amount of the whole of the population anyways but either
हाँ तो अगर ज़्यादा लोग कमाने शुरू कर देंगे अगर तो उससे वर्किंग स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग एक तरह से कम भी हो रहा है एंड रियल इनकम बढ़ना भी चाहिए लेबर फोर्स
यार पहली चीज तो there's a working age population मतलब so population का I don't know कि working if the workforce will increase
sorry I read that wrong
हाँ so working age basically your the people who are working वो थोड़े से on average younger हो गए and उसका अगर कोई भी effect पड़ना चाहिए it should be on national income generally but national income per head तो है increase हो गई है so I don't think this should have any link with decreasing standards of living.
ये मैंने कुछ गलत पढ़ लिया था इसको.
So an increase in the trade deficit. So क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? Standard of living में क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? In fact, if anything, trade deficit, if you look at it, if it's exports minus imports, so yeah, and imports imports बढ़ रहे हैं, ये exports कम हो रहे हैं, right? So yeah, and we're not going to take factors like unemployment and stuff like that into account that much because you know like a national income per head to increase हुआ है ना and if anything if trade deficit at times most of the times means a higher standard of living because you get to import a lot more and that we have seen in Western developed economies that they have a trade deficit a lot of the times in goods at the very least because they import a lot and hence enjoy a high standard of living. So this would might in fact increase the standard of living, not decrease it. Okay, an increase in the consumer price index should not be the case here because if we had ignored if this had not been written then it would have made sense. Real has it's already taken this factor into account. So you're left with A, which makes sense. Welfare payments, all the welfare payments could be on a lot of things. So all those services government provided, just the government kharcha karti hai aapke liye, healthcare, education, unemployment benefits, all of that type stuff goes down. So so your basically access to healthcare, education, all of that goes down. So while your national income per head increases, your standard of living goes down. A director को हमने fire कर दिया as the result of a company merger. His salary was 80,000. He is entitled to a private pension of $30,000. Interesting मतलब ऐसे ही बैठे बैठाए उसे $30,000 मिल रहे for an year, which is not bad वैसे. In his first year after redundancy, he earns 40,000 in consultancy fees and saves 8,000 by dismissing his gardener. What is the resulting change in measured annual income in the first year? So, okay, measured national income in the first year. Now that's interesting. So, I don't know how to go about this. So 80,000 tha. Instead of I mean, if you take the expenditure method, so yeah, so pehle, like we can say pehle to like 80 tha na. Say 80 say now you that was one side, एक side पे 80 था हमारा, एक side पे there is 30 को I think include करोगे because that is still expenditure, right? Someone or the other, the government is still spend or private pension in fact. Probably I'm not even sure if the government is spending. So like 30 to आ रही है and वो 40 भी कमा रहा है. However, either I think you have to -8 because expenditure on the gardener is going down. So he's saving. मतलब उधर that was an expenditure that was पहले happening. जो gardener था ये all of that अभी उसे उसने कटा दिया है.
हाँ.
So that this would be 70. That making it 70, 62, making it a 18 -18.
-18.
So yeah, so like expenditure method पहले ये उसका salary थी. अभी he can earn this much from pensions, this much from private from consultancy, and इतना हमने subtract किया because this expenditure was happening before in the economy पहले over here, but now it's not happening anymore. So we have to subtract that because overall national income से कम होगा. We'll put a star because we might want to check this question after we check the answers.
Pretty sure, inshallah, D होगा.
Okay, so that was 27 D, right? 28. Which cause of economic growth? So which cause of economic growth would involve the least cost for present and future generations of a country's population? So basically, which is the most sustainable way of growing, right? Increased exploitation of a country's mineral resources is not a sustainable way, bro. So much for intergenerational, equity. Like, so investment finance by borrowing from abroad is not too good because you were talking about the future generations of a country's population, right? So बाद में they would have to spend a lot of money on debt servicing and stuff like that and paying it back. Investment finance by high rates of domestic saving?
Maybe.
Yeah, could be. Technological innovations in the productive process. हाँ ये तो like all good like. And because high rates of saving, I don't know, they could have other side effects.
या फिर वो ऑक्सफोर्ड कैसे भेजेंगे?
क्या हो गया bro? हाँ, yeah. So 28 D, because technological innovations in the productive process, ये तो कौन सी है, इसका तो टेंशन ही नहीं है.
हमेशा जैसे technological innovations आते हैं, economic growth, oh भाई.
What would encourage industrial expansion in a region of high unemployment? Because a lot of labor available there. A rationing system for building development in that region? Not really. You want to encourage industrial expansion. If you're just rationing out that area,
won't really help.
Ulta, you're making it more difficult for them. You're like you ration out something when if a lot of firms want to set up there,
too much of it.
Exactly. If a lot of firms want to set up there, then you ration it out. Like no, koi aa bhi nahi raha. You're like we're going to ration out. Right?
Reminds me of someone, but care.
A reduction in tax allowances on investment.
Reduction in tax allowances.
But they said allowances. So what do they mean by tax allowances? Is that tax holidays? Like if they say a reduction in tax on investment, I'd be like, bro, yeah, answer sahi hai. But a reduction in tax allowances makes me think that they're in fact increasing tax on investment. So let's keep this on hold. Let's go to the other options. And we again have to encourage industrial expansion. A requirement that only local labor may be employed? Probably not, because you're just making it a little difficult for them. Like you're like, nahi, bas idhar ka labor employ karo. Why would it encourage them? An end to nationally negotiated wage rates? Probably.
हाँ ये हो सकता है वैसे.
Because if nationally negotiated wage rates खत्म हो जाती है, तो basically what happens, your wage rate that's going will decrease. हमने जो डिमांड सप्लाई डायग्राम बनाते थे वेज के लिए, नेशनल मिनिमम वेज
अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट भी कम हो जाएगी और इंडस्ट्रियल एक्सपेंशन भी हो जाएगी.
हाँ, and the reason, so like obviously so the national minimum wage was above the equilibrium, तो वेज रेट अब कम ही होता है. मैं प्रॉपर डायग्राम तो मैंने बनाई नहीं है, बट अगर वेज रेट कम होता है, you would want to basically substitute, even if there's capital, you would want to substitute in the favor of labor. You would be okay with labor intensive production, which would further lead you to this region because it has high unemployment, so a lot of labor available. So even another reason why you would go towards this region. So 29D. So let's go to the last question. एक तो मुझे पता नहीं चलता A2 में माइक्रो से मैक्रो कब गए, मैक्रो से माइक्रो कब गए.
It's very like a thin line.
हाँ, like
There's no line. It's very like, there's no boundary between it.
yes, it was still, like ये समझ आता है, ये समझ नहीं आता है. अभी A2 में से कुछ भी नहीं समझ आता है. So a government currently has a balanced budget, so where I believe the revenue is equal to the expenditure. So yeah, it is considering the possible variations in tax revenue and government expenditure shown, and they have the variations and which three options have the potential to move the budget into surplus, where basically your let's say your tax revenue jo hai, in this case, that is going to be greater than your government expenditure. Correct? So yeah, so possible variations in tax revenue and government expenditure shown, and potential to move the budget into a surplus. It seems pretty easy, to be honest. So tax revenue हमने increase किया and government expenditure reduce किया, that should be definitely good. Tax revenue reduce, definitely if you reduce your tax revenue, अगर हमने इसे reduce कर लिया but इसे increase कर लिया,
हाँ तो y हटाना है बस.
हाँ तो like ये तो definitely नहीं होगा, because if it's balanced and then this goes up, then this should happen. This should be whatever is here, which is government expenditure, should be greater than tax revenue that is here. So y के केस में तो definitely नहीं हो सकता. Other x के केस में definitely होगा. W and Z में because likely है.
Depends on the magnitude.
Basically, if this rose by more and this rose by less, that will work. If this decreased by less and this decreased by more, and since we have to give three, y तो हो नहीं सकता, तो W, X and Z, which is B.
तो check कर लेता हूँ answers.
चलो, so last. Okay. So 21A, 22B, 23B, 24B, 25D, 26A, 27D, 28D, 29D, and 30B.
नहीं यार, सारे सही हैं.
हाँ सारे सही हैं, like
crazy.
I mean, like ना करो यार, it's good scene है. चलो, we're good, we're done with this.